Oh shit, damn. What was that? Custom lobbies, huh? Okay. Token shop. I done changed the colors on the shit and everything. I see the little differences y'all did. Was crack-a-lacking. Was popping. You know what it is. PUBGESUS in the room. As you read the title, this is a game cast. What we got? We got Dr.T HasanJohnson. Is the black gynocracy dead? I'm guessing gynoocracy. Goddamn, I don't know. I think it's black feminism pretty much. So, shit, let's get into it.
Friendship began how many years? We were just talking about.
I think it's about 28, 29 years ago.
A knowledge of the law.
And we gotta go back, get it fresh out the pipes, presses.
A whole different conversation. But if she comes out and she's calm.
Yeah, you talking about the.
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, did I live here? I said, yeah.
And you said, no, you don't.
And you said,
Right. You funky bitch.
Right. So again, 300 in the building.
Yeah, we're gonna rock it right there.
Make sure you like, share, subscribe, donate, all of that good stuff. Hit the like button if nothing else. Support the channel if you will. Now, the first thing I want to kind of start off with, this will be the only preliminary thing I do before we jump into the main topic, because we're not gonna pull it out too long. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams. I'm not doing that. But there is something I did want to kind of share. I know a number of you saw this. I wanted to put it down on record that this is the kind of stuff that it keeps happening, and we need to stay on top of it. So that said, I need to know if you guys can hear this. So I'm just going to play a second of it. Okay, so if you heard any of that noise, give me a 1. Trying to see if the sound going through. I think my computer just updated itself the other day, so I always got to find out. Okay, so Dwayne says 1. All right, so we good. So check this out, and I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. If you're not, you'll find it interesting. Real estate developer shares footage of him being profiled by a neighbor at the home he built in an affluent neighborhood. So it's about 3 minutes. So I may pause it a few times, but let's see.
Lisa, no, you don't. I don't think you do. What, bitch?
Now, this is a woman and her children at the door.
Do you live here?
Yeah.
You do? I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Like that was supposed to stop him in his tracks or something. I don't believe that. What, bitch?
White women's empowerment.
Man. Oh. Oh.
Did someone come here?
So basically, so far, she saw this dude. She's gonna explain a little bit later, but just to let you know how we're seeing it is not a mistake. This is just how it's been presented. But at the end of the day, she gonna come to her brother's door after seeing him in the neighborhood and accuse him of not living there, then tear off down the street screaming help with her kids in tow.
Mm.
Right?
Hey, wife, somebody chased her up here. She had kids. Who chased her? Somebody in a silver truck.
And he came around the corner, and I was in the street, and so I come up, and I just like, hey,
She crazy.
I'm like, pretend that I'm coming home, and so I pull up, and I start walking through the back lane, and he stops here, and he goes, are you looking for someone? I said, nope, and then he stopped here, and I was like, I need to get in.
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah. He lives here. So he came in and he said there's a lady screaming, and I'm like, that's
How?
how did he scare you though?
I just seen her in the driveway, and I was like, "Are you looking for somebody?" Because I was pulling up out.
And I saw someone walking in our driveway too, and I'm like, why is someone walking in our driveway?
Man, the worst thing. That's how shit got burned down
was
back in the day.
her. So you were walking
That's how
from there?
men getting hung and everything, getting snatched up.
And I was riding
We gotta
slow
go pick
because I'm
this
looking at
nigga
our
up.
Christmas lights.
Black man out here acting like that. That shit crazy.
Shit. I have to understand your point of view. No, I don't.
Nah, I don't.
Driving home, looking at Christmas lights, and that's where she decided to be afraid.
I just saw a car coming, and so I was like, oh, it scared me, and so I just pulled up here, and I kept thinking, this could be his house. But you didn't say, this is my home. You just said, are you looking? And I was like,
why would I need to announce that this is my home? Who does that?
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, did I live here? I said, yeah.
And you said, no, you don't. And
you said, I don't think you do.
That's crazy work right there.
Like, I'm pulling in my house. Like, this neighborhood is probably one of the best neighborhoods in Ohio. You don't have to worry about stuff like that.
I really hope that you're not upset with me.
I gotta keep your distance, bud.
You told me that I didn't. You said you didn't think I lived here.
I don't believe that. That's what the bitch said.
You can see her husband is like, just get in the house. Just get in the house. You're about to embarrass us internationally behind this bullshit.
Man.
This is great. But I mean, look, this is the reality. Too many brothers have had variations on this experience. The one thing I really wanted to focus on here is the gender dynamics alongside. Now, obviously, we know what the racial dynamics are. We get it. Black family, affluent white neighborhood, we get that. But when we talk about the gender dynamics, what I think some people don't understand is how black men navigate this and what we experience. Now, here's the thing. If you've never been married and you've never had a wife to come out of the house and advocate, you'd be surprised how much differently this goes. Single brothers, and I've experienced both sides of it. Right? What I've noticed is when you have a woman, let alone a child next to you, it softens you in the perspective of the folks that you're dealing with in a given situation. Right?
Makes sense.
They immediately start to see you as some type of approximation to being a human being, especially if your wife understands the game and knows how to conduct herself, comport herself. Now, if she comes out, starts cussing and yelling, it's a whole different conversation. But if she comes out and she's calm, like this woman is, you'd be surprised how quickly these things turn. But when you're by yourself as a black male dealing with these situations, you can be surprised at how quickly they can escalate. And you don't have to do anything. I mean, if this whole situation, were he not married with a child, could have escalated out of control, and he didn't need to do anything different. Right? That's one of the things I noticed even moving here to Fresno. When I first moved here, you guys, my longtime listeners know I was married. So like even things like finding a place to live was a lot easier when I walked in with a wife. And I think at the time my son was like 3, so 3-year-old toddler, wife, conversations went a little differently when it came to renting, a place to live or whatever. As soon as, so my wife passed about maybe a year after that, and there was a point where after the market, crash or whatever, I had to find a new place to rent. And when I'm walking into these places by myself, or God forbid you got a son that's going through puberty and he's no longer in the cute toddler stage, you'd be surprised how quickly people look at you as a threat, and there is no softening that takes place when you have a woman next to you. So the gender dynamics of this is what caught my eye, because I found it interesting how quickly black maleness is slightly, perceived differently when you have women and children on your arm. If you're navigating.
Gotta get you a family, man. I gotta get me a family, man. Nah, it ain't like that. Shit. You know me right off game. But my lonesome, I'm about to go out here and act a foolery. Everybody in it. Everybody going for the top. Fuck it. Sound fucked up. The boy had to go get something a little better. Fuck over there. Why this shit look different? It's bright and shit. I need to turn the brightness down. I done fucked with a little bit too much. And fuck with the sound. The sound damp. Where's it? My headphones. Motherfucker gonna catch me coming around the corner. Watch. Get up there. Oh, y'all hating. This shit sound terrible, dog. What the fuck? Turn the game off. Oh, shit. Shut up. Fuck yeah. Too many shoots. Not enough shooting. The fuck is that? Really? Oh my. Should have kept the Uzi. What y'all do to the sound? Fuck, I gotta go. Shit. Where the 3 times at? No? Everybody gonna be pouring out this bitch. What's that? Fuck, no stun. Ow! All right, Laurie. Delusional. The Cougs. I don't know. There they go. They in there somewhere. Let's go, baby. I should have been on that ass earlier. As soon as I got my 2 vests. About to get shot in the ass. I already know it. Ah! Get up there. This bullshit. Right. This shit got the right settings on, man. Alright, fuck. Yeah. So that's low. I'm on your ass. Oh, that's the gnome army. Wait. Fuck, man, the fence, boy. That's bullshit. That's him. That's what's the name. That's low. Over this hill. Oh no, they banging right there. Get there. I should have hit. I should have came at him with the SLR first. I could have double tapped his ass. I had him. Oh no, he's still full. Yeah, I ain't touch him enough. It's all good. It's just the beginning. First game jitters. Let's get back to this. Dr.T HasanJohnson.
This story could have spun a lot of different ways. So, just something to keep in mind. I just thought it intriguing, wanted to share it. Wait a minute, look at this. Ace XXX says Fresno is the meth capital of California. That might too low. Yeah, Fresno be having some things going on. Dr. Thunder says this was about 15 years ago. I was too swole to be a music professor. Yes. And that's the thing. If you're muscular, you're a threat because you're muscular. If you're overweight, you're still a threat just because you're big. If you're not, you're still a threat just because you're black and male. It's layers of this. If you're over 6 feet tall, you're imposing. If you got locks, that's a whole nother dynamic. And if you just have a case of resting bitch face, as some of the kids used to call it, used to tell me in my class, you just happen to not look happy all the goddamn time somehow, that means that you're a threat as well. He says, Dr. Thunder says, didn't have my ID, so they escorted me, 4 or 5 cops, to the School of Music building for someone to ID me. See that? Absolutely. I get it. Shout out to Spain Man, a member for 29 months. Says, salute black men. Don't forget to hit the like button. Much appreciated. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. These are the kind of subtle things that we don't talk about. You know, often in the university when we talk about gender, it usually only applies to some kind of feminist analysis at best. Otherwise, we just chalk this up to pure racism. But when we don't talk about the ways in which anti-black misandry kind of function in a particular way, black men are perceived and treated, the conversation is incomplete. And I want us to be able to push, make sure that the black male experience is part of the discussion, especially as it relates to other young men and our sons coming up, needing to understand the dynamic that they're growing into, right? Because it's going to impose itself on them long before they understand it without our intervention, right? So that said, just wanted to kind of put that out there. See, Better You says, it's hard being an in-shape, thick-neck brother. He said, I had a white woman try this the day she moved into my apartment complex a few years ago. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, just to put that on the table, thought it was interesting. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Well, I'm interested in this whole question of the gynocracy dying because it's been on my mind since November 4th. It's been on my mind. There was something about this election that I just could not shake, and I could not stop, thinking about this very issue. And it's not as much of a statement as it is more a question, but it's a question that I have some leanings for it. And if we have enough time, if y'all are interested, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, especially after I present some of the information that I'm going to present. But this whole question of the gynocracy dying, I think is incredibly important based on where we are, and especially if we understand the history, going back to the mid-20th century.
Coming for all you motherfuckers.
Black feminism. I mean, the way I look at these dynamics.
All right, man. Right off game. I'm going to play this, though. I done fucked with the sound. Nobody go for the main. Let me. Oh, shit. Kill my bear. Ain't gonna know. You real? Check next door right quick. No first aid. They dampen the audio. This shit sound terrible. What did y'all do? Oh, can't hear none of this shit. Oh my God. Somebody here. Am I tripping? Might be tripping. This motherfucker hauling ass though. Busting out like that. Shit out of the fucking shit. You can't look through that bitch. Nova. Oh, this motherfucker right outside this bitch. Oh, I shouldn't have played with him. He touched me 3 times. Alright, okay, alright. Let me quit bullshitting. I sure was about to go after that other motherfucker out there, but I wonder how long he was on me. It's all good, man. It's part of the game.
And I've talked about this before. I look at it more so like, coming out of the civil rights movement, where this small black community had way more impact than we normally would. Way more impact than we normally would. Primarily, what we're looking at in the mid 20th century is the rise of technology, news media technology at that. So now you have video going around the world of old folks and women and men being, chased down by police officers in the South, dogs, and beaten. That footage went around the world at a critical period in American history. Most of it happened in the midst of the Cold War, right? Going on in the rise during the midst of the Cold War. This is the rise of the civil rights movement, and this is incredibly impactful because the world is trying to decide between America and Russia and who has the best culture, who has the best lifestyle, which society should we follow, model should we follow, what economic system yields the best results. These are the questions that are looming at the time. And so with that in mind, this small community that people were able to, ignore for the most part is now thrust in the middle of the world, and everybody's looking at it. We had an incredible amount of influence simply on the basis of that. And this is what governed, whether you agree with it or not, Dr. King's whole approach to nonviolence. A lot of it was based on how he understood media and how he understood people would be viewing us. Right? And so he played on that with nonviolence as a method of shaping public opinion, but on a global scale. Right? Where he's taking cues from international movements and he's pulling them into the black community here in the U.S., but as much of it is predicated on international media and what statements they can make about us. And of course, when we can speak for ourselves with a mic in our face. And this goes back to Emmett Till as well, right? The display of his body and the impact it would have on media went global, from Jet Magazine to around the world, seeing those images of how badly he was lynched and beaten. So that's the kind of moment we're at. And the civil rights movement got to be too powerful as far as others were concerned. Now, we can debate amongst ourselves whether we liked it, agreed with it, had problems with it. That's one thing, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying for the most part, what we see here is this small community that wasn't supposed to have the attention of the world got it. And when we started pushing, or putting our situation out, putting our history out, explaining the context of what was going on and what justice was needed, we had a lot more influence than even we were ready for in many instances. So one of the questions quickly became, how do they dismantle this? And I argue one of the first things they did was they took advantage of the rise of making white women a minority. Alongside making them a minority,
that was the chess.
Women
That was the chess move.
Supported in many
And
instances by the CIA,
we bought it though.
Advanced themselves politically.
That's the same thing as DEI.
And that is what it is.
Buying some bullshit. It's some bullshit.
Is when they offered black women to join them. They offered the idea of a universal sisterhood. That universal sisterhood would come together and fight for the rights of all women. Get them into the workplace, and if you've already been in the workplace like black women, get you into an improved level, right? Improved class level. You don't have to, work in white people's homes, taking care of their kids and cleaning their floors. Now you can get a professional white collar job. This was the offer. This was the Faustian bargain that black women were offered. And the rise of the feminist movement, and that begat the black feminist movement, the idea was you can advance not only separate from black men, but often in spite of. You can have access to consistent employment. You can have access to welfare, which has been going on since the 50s, but you can have access to all of that. You can have access to resources that black men don't get, and you don't got to worry about them niggas anymore. You could advance because of your proximity to white women. Now, this was a complex relationship, a lot of tension. It's not to say black women just trusted white women out the gate, but at the end of the day, they took the bargain, they took the contract, and they signed it. And that was the rise of it. But the reason I'm tripping on this last election is, in my humble opinion, it looked to me like the final failure of that contract. Final failure of that contract. Now, there have been plenty of things that led up to it, but the election of Trump was like the symbolic, end to a contract that goes back to the late 1960s at the least. And we can take it back to the late 19th century if you want to, in the suffragette movement. The early underpinnings of some idea about sisterhood and American and universal sisterhood, the earliest underpinnings, but it's really the mid 20th century where it begins to pick up steam, and black women are more forthrightly invited into this idea about womanhood, right? This is where we kind of see this going. And black men have observed these kinds of shifts and changes, and they've operated on different class levels at the same time. You know, for poor women, they got welfare access that most men couldn't get to because of the man in the house rule. And even when the man in the house rule was kind of done away with, and black men technically could get access to welfare resources, we often found that the practice of it still operated regardless of whether or not there was a formal policy in place. So for the most part, poor black men couldn't get those same resources poor black women could, right? Then you had the rise of the family court. We saw the family court, especially in regard to no-fault divorce, begin to advocate, which I consider to be a sort of wealth transfer from relatively poor black men to poor black women, legislated by a court that really wasn't concerned about children's welfare. It was really a gender coup taking place within the context of an institution. Okay? So you had a lot of these kind of things happening at the same time that began to transfer resources and provide access to resources and powers that women could enjoy that black men couldn't. And when you're talking about a relatively poor community for the most part, that's important. That's incredibly important. White men didn't like it, but they could sustain it. They could go through 3 or 4 families. We even saw this at the rise of the white manosphere, right? The white manosphere, was a lot of guys who had means, and they'd gone through 3 or 4 divorces, and the kids didn't like them, and they were frustrated at what was going on. Black men started pulling out of marriage in the mid-'60s. Started much earlier for us. Marriage didn't have the same kinds of benefits for us, but when it started to turn and become a tool to be used against us, when you have fewer resources, your feet are closer to the ground. It's not as hard for you to recognize that this shit is not going well, and you got to pull out quicker because you don't have enough resources to go through 3, 4 marriages to realize that this isn't going well. And there's a pattern here that even though you may not understand it, it ain't working for you. It doesn't take us long to realize that when you don't have many resources to depend on. You know, and the policies got advanced so quickly, many of us couldn't even keep up. I mean, I told you my first day at work 16 years ago here at Fresno State, one of the things that blew me out of my chair is when they said, yeah, if you got back child support, we can take 100% of your check. I never heard that before. I didn't have child support. I was married. My son was just born. But my point was that I didn't realize the policy had advanced to that point where you could be working full time and get nothing. And of course, if you have back child support, you must be a bad man, right? That's the narrative that went along with it. So now we have to talk about the influence of feminist culture in the social environment, not just in terms of institutions and policies. We as a society have been convinced through media that feminists were inherently right. Women were inherently good, inherently right. And if there was anything that made them unhappy, it was inherently a man's fault on one level or another. These were the dynamics in play. So I grew up at a time period in the 70s and most particularly the 80s and 90s where I watched women being advanced, even in school. I mean, I've been in school from kindergarten through PhD, almost nonstop. And I literally watched as women were able to graduate at higher levels, as the teachers would grade girls in a particular way, grade boys in another. And this is happening across race. I watched boys fail out of school and not graduate while girls got advanced. And then we were suddenly told that women were just inherently smarter, and that was why. It had nothing to do with the fact that the majority of the teachers were female. Like, that may not have anything to do with it as far as most people were concerned. They just were smarter, and we just got to tolerate dumb boys.
Yeah, they claim women mature faster. Now it look like y'all done regressed a little bit out there. It's been a little bit of regression. I hope this building got everything I need in it. I'm going to go to the right. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you coming? Yeah. Oh my. Oh. Still got the shit kickers on. Stun, no. This motherfucker right next door to me. Get some room. Evan. Turn the brightness back up. I'm tripping. Where you at, Evan? Look, I got my stun grenade. Turn. Hmm. What's out there? No scope out there. I think it's a two-story. Hmm. Hmm. I'm 249. Name start with an I. He over there somewhere. If I had to guess, I'm gonna clear through here though. Theme. There you go, right there. Over here playing the range game. Hold on, boy. Stay there a little longer. Who you fighting with? No. Oh. What's up, Granny? Hmm. Come and put a number in your phone. I got you. I got you, Granny. Yeah, yeah. Give me like 30 minutes. Granny, I'm down the street. I'll be there in 30 minutes, Granny. All right. Motherfucker about to kill me. My grandma, man. I need to lay down somewhere. I'm afraid I'm dead. Watch. Where the timer at? All right. Back at it like a PUBG addict. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even check Buddy Body. Where you die at? That boy, from where? Damn. He don't call me. How? He was so far. With it 3 times. All right, man. I guess. I fucking guess. All right. I guess, man. I guess. Girl, this girl something else. Walk on the right side. This girl about to get ran over by the machinery. The fuck, man? Fuck is you doing? All right, man. Back to this Dr.T HasanJohnson. I'm about to just call this
This is
nigga
why I had
Dr.
problems with
T.
Scott Galloway and these kind of
But I want to
conversations
give him his
about
respect
boys need
stuff.
an extra few years to grow before they should go to school. Bullshit. About pedagogy. Who's teaching and what they're teaching and how they're teaching. And the fact that you don't want to accept that girls and boys may need different influences, and you have majority females administering a culture in their classroom that's conducive to female advancement, that may have more to do with female advancement than it has anything to do with boys not being smart enough. But we're going to ignore all that because we're still going with this childish notion of girls being, what is it? I forget what they call it. Everything nice, boys are snips and tails and puppy dog tails, and girls are, all that. We are literally operating off of a goddamn nursery rhyme in terms of how we set policy in schools. And then you had this wave of media from the 90s to the 2000s, where all of a sudden it went from, the girls should be involved in male spaces, and the males shouldn't really be in female spaces when it comes to toys and cartoons and movies. And then all of a sudden it morphed into female superiority. My son and I just sat and watched almost the entirety of the Young Justice series. And we were just kind of charting, organically as it went, even within the context of that show, how you went from females being on the team to
I gotta read that.
feminist.
Hold on. Who that is? Who the boogeyman? I'm the Baba Yaga in this motherfucker, nigga. Who the boogeyman? You
Of course,
addressing
it
me or the
culminated in
pod
what we saw most
or
with
the game
Marvel and
cast?
Disney and the message as some people refer to it. We saw
This
that
nigga
culminate.
right
I saw
here,
it start
Cold Kill. I think
in
you
the
might
80s.
fuck with him.
Really in the 70s, if you want to talk about
He a
the
professor,
rise of television shows and short
a
documentaries
teacher,
that convinced us and socialized us to believe that
black male
men
studies.
were primarily the only aggressors against women and women were innocent bystanders. And this goes from everything from abuse to divorce to family formation to social dynamics in the office. So much so that we were convinced that Me Too was a good thing because it was just about enacting
Turn the
some sense
brightness
of
up.
justice.
They
No, it
done
wasn't.
fucked with a lot of shit on here, Kill. I
It
don't
was a
know if you didn't
political
hear
coup.
the sound
And
janky.
here's the missing piece.
What else?
Kamala
The
somehow was
brightness
supposed to
situation
represent
kind of,
the
the shit
culminating
look
act
different.
of feminism being ensconced
I'm gonna
in
run
the
this bitch
highest
at
office in
100
the land.
again and see if I feel any
I don't
different
think
now.
they
Hold
intended
on.
for it to be Kamala. I mean, she kind of
Like the
got there
brightest too bright.
and they were trying to meet this symbolic demand of having a woman of
Oh, you
color in
talking
the
about how I
executive
got
office.
sniped? I'm the
But I think
boogeyman
much of
from far,
Biden's
far
health
away. No,
played
never
a
mind.
role in having to shift it to her almost kind of last second. I don't really think that was planned from the beginning.
Fucked up at the wrong shit. Pause
Shout
on
out to
that.
BGS.
Oh,
Appreciate the support.
You the boogeyman.
Shout out to Inspired.
all right on. I'm over here fucking up about to die. Fucking with this. Oh, shit. Oh my. Ah. Ah! Damn. I know I got a headshot on his ass. That nigga shot me in the ass cheek with the barrel. So I know why I died. I'm over here fucking with the wrong shit.
Yeah, it looks darker.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Inspired
but when
Truth.
on certain maps
Member
it's
for
too
10 months,
bright.
as I tend to
Like
remember
the
girls
shit,
were cheating in school the
the
most.
time of day fucking up. I got the brightness down, I
Oh
think
my goodness.
currently. I
Right.
ain't sure.
So,
But sometimes it'd be too bright.
I don't think they planned for it to be Kamala, but she
Maybe
was there.
maybe it was my
Right?
first game back. I swear they
Dropped her
fucking
an
with
extended amount of
shit.
resources, tried to push that and, tried to run it mostly on abortion. Right? This was supposed to be the moment. And in that moment, women showed their ass on an unprecedented level. The amount of misandry that brothers could talk about from just from the moment she was announced until the beginning of November, we saw women take their mask off and basically tell men to kiss their ass. We don't need you. We don't want you. The whole thing. And that language has been going on since the 1980s. I grew up with the generation of women that were taught to say that. But it culminated into a mantra that became so strong that it had the potential to finally be ensconced in the executive office to the highest degree. Because we know, especially the last few years of Biden's presidency, we never even saw Kamala. They tried to bring her out a few times early on. She demonstrated she really wasn't prepared for that, so they kind of buried her. She didn't come back out until it was absolutely necessary. Shout out to Money Motion for that support. They brought her out even though she really wasn't ready for it, but they tried to push it. It didn't work. Dr. Thunder says it's straight fire.
Shit, you fucking with the new gig,
I
boy?
appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Something you think you gonna fuck with?
They tried to run it. It failed. And women showed their ass. I mean, you even had Michelle Obama telling women to lie to their husbands about who to vote for, right? I'm advocating for this under the table coup, the continuation of the feminist coup, upend men. And this is the problem with the feminist argument. The argument is strictly on the basis of gender. The argument is that men are privileged, women are oppressed. We have to upend all men. And this is one of the things that Black Male Studies has been trying to explain for years. It's pretty common sense. Not all men enjoy the same level of power. It's actually a very small percentage of men that do. Most men have very little power, to none. Most men. But instead, the lens feminists chose to use was to set up this Manichaean thing between women and men on two different sides. Men are the oppressors, women are the victims, and they've got to rise up against the oppressors across race. Damn history, damn social context, damn any of that. Damn what you saw in your own family. Unless somehow it supported the narrative that, you know, men were abusers and whatever else, right? So this overly simplistic, childlike narrative was what feminists use to get millions of women, many of whom have never even read a book by a feminist, to operate on that agenda. And it worked. So as we saw the potential for Kamala to step into the presidency, we saw women show their ass on a level that we had never seen.
Snowballs.
Talking shit, telling you you ain't shit, telling you, you know, it's time for women to rule and lead. We don't need you, all of that.
It's nighttime for kids.
Then what happened? He lost. Out to Cornbread says in elementary school, girls would get extra chances at bat in gym class just by saying I wasn't ready and then crying. And then crying. How many extra chances will males ever get? Perfection is the hallmark of being male. I'm sorry, man. You got me stuck on I wasn't ready and then crying. Which all of us know they will pull an argument with you in a minute. And I've been the blue.
I wasn't ready. That sounds hilarious. All right, let me get my shit together, man. I'm taking as many as the PUBG guys will let me take. One, two, three, four. They coming in a little. Let me take this little shit. Where you going? What other dude at? You still up there? I'll bring your ass down here. The boy's still in the sky. I'm about to go sliding. Up. There you go. Oh, he did. Oh, my. Come on, man. Give me something else. Dude. You still ain't out here, is you? The fuck? It's time I got it. Get the fuck on up out of here. Yeah. Oh. That's what I'm on. I'm gonna start playing all these motherfuckers like they real. Get my mojo going. Ooh. Might have been real right there. Yeah, the suppressor too. I should have stopped on his ass. Fuck it. I gotta get on my shit. Gotta get bring the dog out me. Urgh. Oh boy, got a rifle out here. I hate my job. 12. Me too. Got a rifle again. Why not? The Baba Yaga. Shoot at that bot again. I wish you would. Bust that bot ass. There you go. OG Rex. QG Rex. Come here, boy. Shoot another bot. Come on. You know you want to. Come on, Rex. Shoot another bot. Too far. Go back to the car. What the fuck is that? I ain't got it now. Look at it. Oh my God. Yeah, there was some in. I should have paid it. Fuck. She's in the zone. I'd have went. Shit. Dude, real out there. Henry Alstretta. Yeah, I color code the cars, man, on the map. Oh, shit. Scared the motherfucker out of me. Hold on. Went right at the ping. I should have for sure pinged that motherfucker. Damn. Start hitting these main places, man. Oh, fuck nah, it's Henry. Come on, man. Fuck it. Playing indecisive. This when I die. Let me just go ahead in. On the motherfucking road. The Rex out there eating. I was about to get you, boy. Tase. He just killed a bear. Polar bear enforcement. You can't kill bears on my watch. Oh my God. It's a bear close. Shit. You gotta go right of yellow or left. What the fuck is the bear doing? Where'd he go? No. He fucking with the bears. What if he seen it? Shoot the bear some more. The fuck? The fuck? That boy wants the phone. I give it to you. Oh shit. He almost out. Man, this motherfucker about to come over the top. Where you at? What's your name? Oh my God. Motherfucker just pulled up like he know what's up. Where you at? I know it. How high up are you? Fuck, he already there. Somebody else shooting? Fuck me. There you go. Ah, you lucky bitch. Hope that bear bites you in the fucking ass. I need you to die. I know you still ain't at that tree. Should check that boy's body. I'm out here, ain't healed up, tripping. Got everything I need, ain't using. Worried about ammo. Man, where I killed Buddy at? He's back around there somewhere. I need to just take the car. Crash something with some loot. Just gonna pull up here and die. Got some throwables. I'll go right here. Fuck it. Here we go. Barely. That was Taze. Damn, man. All right. Let me bite. Let me lock in. I'm on my next one. I will. That'll be here in a minute. Got granny duties.
Pill cat to stop arguing the moment she starts crying, because I'm conditioned to do this. Tears. She's hurt. I've been raised since childhood to believe she's so inherently good and pure that if she's hurt, I must have done something wrong just because she has tears. I tell you, when it gets cold is when your woman cries and you silence yourself, and then you later on you're thinking to yourself and you go, she actually have tears? I don't think she had tears. She just had the performance of crying, which was enough to get me to shut up, especially when I'm right. That's how well trained we were. But the problem with this last election is women showed their ass to a degree where it was clearly evident they stopped performing. They stopped with the fake tears. They stopped with all of that to say, we don't need you. And when Kamala lost, we saw the crash outs, we saw the crying, we saw the fits, we saw the tantrums, we saw the women ain't gonna be bothered no more, which of course rolled into Michelle Obama not showing up to a couple things, and that somehow became a rallying cry for black women, not taking shit from people, whatever. We'll get to that. But at the end of the day, we saw them with the mask on. And then we saw the tantrums for about a good week. I mean, in certain instances, it went further than that, but we saw it. But you could not forget what it was like to see the mask come off completely. Because they finally said, we don't have to perform anymore. We can actually tell them what we really think. And they did. And for a lot of men, it was another black masculinist turn. It was another moment where you said, who the fuck am I standing next to? Who is this? whether it's a girlfriend, sometimes even a wife, sometimes a mother, sometimes a friend, family friend, auntie. You heard a level of entitlement and superiority that you've only gotten glimpses of prior, and it was in your face. And now the question was, could they put the genie back in the bottle? So for the last month, everybody's been kind of, getting ready for Trump to get back in office, and we're watching women trying to figure out how to reposition themselves. Because here's the thing: every other group of women never alienated their men to the point where they couldn't go home. Every other group went home. There's only one group of women that didn't have anywhere to go. And instead of apology, and just to be clear, I saw an unprecedented number of apology videos. I did. And I still am. I've never seen this many red pill women in my damn life, ever. Talking about using talking points that, I heard 6 years ago. So, I haven't heard this many red pill women ever. Chastising other women, checking them about their entitlement. I'm like, where the fuck were you? And I'm hearing them more since the election of Trump. And I think a lot of it, I'm not saying there aren't people that aren't sincere. I mean, we know the women that were arguing on behalf of men, especially in these red pill spaces, they got attacked by other women all day. You know this. So they're able to be a bit vindicated. I'm not mad about it. Shout out to MS Delta. What's going on, man? Appreciate that support. It's good to see you. Shout out to Nub Glory. Says competent Black American men, the ones who voted for Trump's tough on immigration policies, are done with Black American women. They moved on to white women. Well, we get to that. Shout out to Ghetto User. Says keep preaching, Doc. You're on fire. Well, so we know they're trying to figure out how to save face. Now, some of them. So you have a portion of them that are more red pill than ever. You have a portion of them that are trying to figure out how to reposition themselves. You have some that have come out apologizing to Black men. I've seen a couple of those videos. And then you have those that are doubling down on independence and solitary, solitude, and we don't need men. You still have those groups. But for the most part, they're trying to figure out what to do because they took the mask off and raised their middle fingers. Black men found themselves subject to a coup that they didn't even know they were dealing with. By the time you figured out it was a coup, they failed. They screamed and cried after saying fuck you for months, and then turned around and said, I got to figure out how to get him back. And what happened. But the reason I'm asking about whether or not gynocracy is dead is not just the loss of the presidential election. It's a little more than that. On my channel, even though I haven't broadcast, a lot in the last couple months, we've nonetheless, in the last year or two, been talking about what some of the things we've been seeing happening with women. In terms of policy, in terms of practice, right? We started to see when groups like, what was it, the Fearless Fund were sued by conservative white men. I think it was one dude, actually. But we knew it wasn't going to stop with him. If he couldn't do it, somebody else would step up. But we started to see those lawsuits gain traction, and they won. And all of a sudden, you start to see these Black women's organizations put together by educated Black women only for other Black women. They didn't do shit for men, weren't concerned with men, didn't give a damn about men. Which is why Black men were fairly indifferent when those organizations got sued and those resources started to get removed and subtracted. We were fairly indifferent. Didn't benefit us in the first place. We didn't lose anything. Somewhat like DEI. Black men are not losing their minds about the loss of DEI because DEI didn't target us for advancement anyway. They targeted white women, Black women, and LGBTs. Black men were treated like honorary white men. I've said this before. Shout out to Uru, honorary white men with no privilege and no power. And now people are mad that we're not up in arms at the fact that DEI is gone. It'll affect some Black men, but for the most part, it wasn't anything that benefited us on a large scale. We were not the beneficiaries of it, just like affirmative action. The target remained mostly white women. Right? So we were indifferent. And then sometimes we were chastised for that. What did Obama state? What was his statement to us before the election? He was frustrated by how many black men didn't seem like they wanted to vote for Kamala, even though we had a track record for voting for women more than any other demographic of men. Not to say that should be or shouldn't be something to applaud. I'm just pointing out what it is. He chose us to attack, and people applauded him for it, especially black women. And shout out to Medium, man. He made an interesting point a little while back where he said, black men, if you're voting to please black women, stop that shit. Because you got the same pushback for voting the way black women wanted you to that you would have got for voting for anybody else other than Kamala. Black women still told us we wasn't shit, even though we voted for Kamala in high numbers. I'm not talking about who I voted for, but I'm saying statistically, black men, those who voted in high numbers for Democrats, which we normally do. And if anybody thought that was going to yield a different relationship with black women, it didn't. And we still got chastised by black women. Barack put that shit out there. People applauded him. But the one group nobody wanted to talk to was white women, because they did the same shit to Hillary that they did to Kamala. And I don't know why people thought white women would vote for Kamala. I don't think they're going to put a black woman in the executive office when they haven't been there yet. I've been looking at that the whole time like, yeah, good luck with that one. I think if they could have ran a white woman, they would have. They were stuck with her. But still, at the end of the day, we became the face of the attack. And for the most part, I think what it's making black men do is just become more and more indifferent. We don't benefit from the shit. We're not crying about losing it. You know, it is what it is. So with that in mind, I started thinking about this question of the death because I'm looking at the lawsuits that started to attack things like the Fearless Fund. I'm looking at the resources that normally went to black women via welfare and, the low-cost housing and grants and whatnot that black women, single mothers were getting in certain cities. I covered that on my show for the last 5 years. Talking about various cities, which ones were targeting single mothers and giving them grants. Like single fathers or single men don't need help. They let single men, for the most part, live under a goddamn bridge. But we're giving money to others, right? But when the Ukraine war jumped off, those resources went overseas. All of a sudden, there's grumblings coming out. And what's going on? So these are the things I'm paying attention to. So I'm looking at Trump's victory more so as a symbol. And of course, he's passing policy, and we'll see what it does, in terms of long term. But, pushing back DEI, that's going to have an impact. But my question is this. The gynocracy is something that doesn't naturally exist. Never did. The black community, first and foremost, is an amalgam that has never really, I don't think there's any other group in the world that is formed the way the black community in America is. Arbitrarily globbed together based on Western market forces, had nothing to do with us as a sustained, independent group of human beings. We didn't migrate here as a whole people and grow. That's not what happened. The majority of the people taken up until the early part of the 19th century were men. And they didn't give a damn if we died working ourselves to death. That was the job. They brought you over, you worked to death, or they killed you. You either escaped, you rebelled, you did whatever you could, or you just worked to survive. It was mostly men. We actually had relationships with Native Americans and poor white folks on various plantations because there wasn't a lot of black women here. When they started bringing black women in numbers, that didn't happen until later. They didn't even get here until about 50 years, roughly 50 years before the Civil War. That's when black women got here because they realized they needed to breed that slave population. So black men were here being enslaved. Black women came a little bit later. Now, mind you, they're pulling us from different parts of mostly West Africa. Different languages, different cultural practices, different spiritual outlooks. We try to say that it's an amalgam because we come from the same fucking continent, but that's ridiculous. Nonetheless, we came over from different parts, brought over. And women were brought over later, again from different parts, brought over. And as BGS always says, they didn't bring them over for us. They were brought for breeding purposes, whether with us or whether with white men, right? Nonetheless, we were kind of slammed together. And with that, this is where Jim Sedanius' work is incredibly important in terms of social dominance theory. When you really understand the gender dynamics in any oppressive context, realize that they play out almost the same, at least on a larger scale, but at the end of the day, The men are always going to be the target in a way the women can't fathom. And the women are going to have access to resources the men don't get. Why? Because their direct sexual proximity is to white men. White men had power. You can be fucking a white woman all day, whether she runs a plantation or not. If the power dynamic is not going to work the same. If she's caught having sex with black men, she's socially shamed. Your ass is lynched. End of discussion. If he's caught with black women, nothing happens. Right? Different power dynamic. So this is how this plays out. This led to the rise of a gynocracy very early on. By the time you get to the 20th century, we have policy that begins to advance it. We have groups that are openly offering black women resources, and this begins a process of setting black men and women apart on a scale that we've not seen before. And we don't talk about it because it's considered uncouth to do so. Men have been kind of grumbling about it, but you'll not find a lot of people talking about it publicly. And many of us didn't know how. We didn't have the vocabulary. We didn't know how to word what we were seeing. We just knew it made us uncomfortable. We couldn't articulate why until this movement of brothers on social media gave it a language, made sense of it. This is why I've seen men in their 70s and 80s who listen to the stuff we're talking about and go, holy shit. And then they start to explain the things they grew up seeing, but they're now using the vocabulary you gave them, and they can understand their own experiences in a way that they never were able to before. But the phenomena itself has been happening since the beginning. It's not new. They just didn't know how to articulate it. This is what we're dealing with. So we watch this rise of the gynocracy, and the point about the gynocracy I need to make is that it's not a natural phenomenon. It has always been subsidized by white society, most particularly white liberal women, who use black women to advance their cause and agenda, essentially their coup against white men. That's what they did. They used black women to advance their coup. Now, black women weren't naive. They understood that they were being used, but they also understood that they were going to get something out of it. Because the question became, how far am I going to get with this black man versus this white woman? I roll with this universal sisterhood. I'll get mid-level white-collar jobs. I'll get access to housing, resources, college access if I want to be middle class, degrees that maybe in the 80s translated into something. Whether it's doing so now is a whole different conversation, but they looked at that versus staying with my man. And you know what many of them chose, even though they never acknowledge it. And we've not really levied the accusation in a public forum the way we need to. But they chose unapologetically while gaslighting us and telling us that there was no such choice made. That's how bad the gaslighting was. That led to the rise of the gynocracy, but the gynocracy was always subsidized by white society. It was a useful tool to white women. But this is why this election was so critical, because white women realized that it was no longer useful or necessary to keep subsidizing them. Funding began to dry up over the last year. Again, I pointed out the Ukraine war. I pointed out the lawsuits against these kind of resources and scholarships and programs that were only targeted to black women by black women. Those resources began to dry up. White women washed their hands of black women. And what we watched after the election of Trump is black women being told or shown that they weren't valued. White folks broke their toys when they were done playing with them. We can talk about that in terms of black leaders that sold us out, for a few pennies to represent themselves in a certain way. That's there. I'm not saying it's not. But we don't want to talk about this gender dynamic as it relates to black women and black men. We're not allowed to talk about that. We can only talk about, black leaders that we think sold us out. But we can't talk about the way this played out in terms of gender. And I'm already working on a second book. All my classes are online, so I will not be back in the classroom at least until August. So I think I'm going to go ahead and write a second book that deals with the chronicling of the fall of the gynocracy. But anyway, because we're the only community that's ever been Trojan horsed like this. In this way, our women were Trojan horsed to undermine the black community, especially at the rise of the civil rights movement, as a way of undermining where we could have gone, where we could have taken it. Right? This is what we're looking at. But because the gynocracy has always been subsidized, what happens when it's no longer subsidized? The reason it's always had impact is not just that our mothers and wives told us we had to do X, Y, and Z. It's because they could take us to court or use the police as a weapon against men. Like, they had institutions that stood in on their behalf and their whim. And the story could be told however they chose to tell it, because the public sentiment was that black men especially, but men in general, were bad. So even when they did something foul, the way the story would be reported or talked about in the public usually supported them. Now we're in a situation where they're not being subsidized in the same kind of way. This is the crux of my question about whether the gynocracy has died or is dying. Because the resources, financing, the subsidization is gone. Can a gynocracy stand simply on cultural practice? Not if it's not a naturally forming dynamic. And it never was. What happens as it begins to decline? When white folk break their toys, when they're not subsidizing them anymore, the only thing they have to rely on is practice. In other words, this is how you've been raised. This is what you were told you were supposed to do in regard to black women and black men. But what happens when it's no longer backed by material force, resources, access to class uplift? When those things are gone, what happens with the gynocracy? See, this is a horrible analogy, but I don't have a better one. So if you give me a better one, I'll probably use it. I might credit you, but don't at me if I don't. But at the end of the day, I look at it as an ingrown hair. You get a really bad ingrown hair and it's swollen and all that good stuff. The thing about it is, once you actually are able to get that hair out, it's still bloody, it's still covered in pus, it is what it is, it's still swollen. But by the time you wake up in the morning, it's gone down considerably. Within a day or two, a lot of the time, it doesn't even look like you ever had one. What I'm suggesting is, I think, with the especially culminating in the election of Trump, that ingrown hair was pulled. And it still may be swollen, there still may be blood and pus, but without the ingrown hair that's the basis of the problem, it goes down. When the subsidizing of black women over black men is gone, I think what we're seeing is it coming down. And now the question becomes, how does a community form itself after half a century or more of a very particular type of training instigated by an outside community that is no longer influencing community in question? That's the question. So now, I brought you to the crux of this question I'm asking about the gynocracy. And it's more of a question than a statement, because I want to hear your opinions, but there's a couple things I got to show you. Now, the other part of what led me to wonder was noticing just how many high-profile black women were being attacked by the mainstream engine or left to their own devices. Now, especially when we talk about politicians and high-profile figures, we know corruption is rampant. Corruption's all over the place. But what I find is, when one group starts to get targeted in a very specific way, it usually means either your bribe payments are no longer going through, or you have been excised. Right? You're no longer part of the group. So let's go through a number of high-profile women, and y'all tell me if you see a similar pattern to what I'm seeing. Now, a lot of what I'm going to show you, not all, but a number of things, and hopefully, I won't get hit too hard with copyright, but shout out to Pink Book on a number of the things I'm going to go into, because she showed us a few things that I think are quite interesting. So let me open this up. So I'm going to start with some people that many of us may not have ever heard before, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to show you a few things, and I want to get hopefully afterwards your thoughts on some of this. So this first one deals with Maxine Chambers McManahan. Check this out. I'm going to start to see if you guys can hear it first. Okay, so tell me if you heard that little clip of music. Again, give me a 1 in the chat if you could hear it.
Women to know that you're not limited to anything other than living your life openly and honestly.
Ask your healthcare provider if Biktarvy is right for you, and visit Biktarvy.com to view the important facts, including important warnings.
chat if you could hear it. OGB Gaming says, Doc, I got the book. I'm only on page 10. It's more informative than most books I've read. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. All right, so we got some ones. So shout out to Pink Book. She's been keeping her foot on their necks, giving us cases. I mean, she's talking about people I ain't never even heard of, which I think is incredibly interesting. But check this out.
Maxine Chambers McManaman, a high-ranking TSA official, celebrated the holidays by taking a trip to Jamaica. She posted this picture here and wrote, "Having a blast in Jamaica." Over the years, some of the Chambers family relocated to the UK, while others immigrated to the US, ended up in Brooklyn before moving south to Atlanta in Florida. But her family is from Jamaica. Maxine's parents wanted her to realize the American dream, so she went to college, earned her bachelor and master degrees, joined Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated in grad school, got into an interracial relationship, married him, had a baby girl as soon as possible to rid her offspring of her Black Jamaican identity. However, the relationship didn't last, and her ex-husband had no problem ditching masculine Maxine to find a more feminine woman in South Florida. Even as a divorced woman, Maxine tried her best to hold on to her ex-husband's family and their identity, refusing to drop their last name and attempting to still be a part of the family, claiming his family members as her own, while barely acknowledging her own Jamaican-American family, and not only neglecting, but also taking advantage of her own Black mother. Maxine, a woman who was given the authority to tell travelers going through the busiest airport in the world if they're right or wrong, is now being judged herself. That's after she was arrested at the same airport she worked at on a daily basis. Yes, Miss AKA TSA Federal Security Director came back from having a blast in Jamaica just days after Christmas and was stopped by her own people in her department at the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Atlanta. Maxine was taken into custody by U.S. Customs and Border Protection and had to be shipped down to Florida after an investigation uncovered shocking details about the director that involved her mother, father, and her brother. A family feud spilling into national headlines. We're going to get into it, but first, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to the channel.
All right. I'm only going to play clips because this is, we're not going to go into a deep dive on each person, but I'm showing you where you can continue your dive if you want to find out more about any of the people I'm going to bring up tonight. And I will include the links a little bit later after the show is over in the description box. So that was Maxine Chambers McManahan, not somebody who I'd heard about prior to this, but nonetheless. So that's the first one on the list. Let's check out the next one. All right. This one is, let me make sure. All right. You guys are more, I think you guys will be more familiar with this particular person. Now, not everybody in here is FBA ADOS. That's not the point I'm making. Not the point I'm making. What I'm making in mentioning this is the public image of Black women and what's happening to it with key figures at different points. Right? Pink Book is aware of the FBA issue and whatnot, and so she'll bring that up. But as far as most Americans are concerned, they'll just look at this as that's a Black woman. Let's check this one out. Here we go.
Well, that breaking news right now. A verdict has been reached in former Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby's fraud trial. This was the first full day of deliberations for the jury after nearly 2 weeks of testimony.
The jury handed down its verdict about 30 minutes ago or so. Marilyn Mosby guilty on count 2 in this case.
All right, so that's Nate the lawyer. I'm not going to use any of his commentary. I just kind of wanted to show a little bit about this particular case, and you can go check out Nate himself if you're interested in his perspective on it. But we're looking at Marilyn Mosley, right? Just deal with that for a second. But I got another one to kind of update us a little bit as to what is going on with that. So, or at least some of the latest information. This has to do with Trump being elected, right? Let's see what happens.
Meantime today,
I should have asked the last time. I hope you guys can hear the last clip in this one so far. If you can't, please let me know. But I'm going to continue to play it for the moment until you tell me otherwise.
Before President Biden left office, he issued a series of pardons, but former Baltimore City State Attorney Marilyn Mosby wasn't on that list. Fox 45 Jeff Abel looks into that decision and what that means for Mosby's case moving forward.
Well, by the time President Biden had left Washington today, he had signed hundreds of pardons and commutations, but Marilyn Mosby was not among them.
Lift up this case, y'all. We are down to the wire.
Until the very last hour, supporters of former State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby were on social media pleading for a pardon.
We are in the 11th hour, and this woman is on house arrest.
So please sign the petition and hashtag justice for Marilyn Mosby.
Online, they had scored 97,000 signatures calling on President Biden to pardon Mosby. Last year, a federal jury convicted her of mortgage fraud and 2 counts of perjury.
As if she did something so drastically illegal.
In December, supporters rallied outside the White House. At City Hall, Mosby's ex-husband made a public appeal.
I call on my colleagues throughout the state, I call on anybody else throughout the state to ask President Joe Biden for a pardon.
But by the time President Biden had left Washington today, it was clear he had not left a pardon for Marilyn Mosby. He granted dozens of pardons to felons and family members, but he did not grant forgiveness to convicted state's attorney Marilyn Mosby.
Okay. Right. So we know Mosley didn't get the pardon, right? Convicted of fraud and perjury. Right? That's what we're looking at. Right. So far, Maxine Chambers McManahan, Marilyn Mosley. Who else we got on the list? Now, oh goodness. Let me see here. Because I'm gonna tell you now. I'm just gonna show you the first search screen on YouTube. And I did this in a number of different engines, search engines. We know about Tiffany Henyard. Now, I don't have enough energy or time to go into depth on Tiffany Henyard. If you're familiar with Tiffany Henyard, if you're not, just put in Tiffany Henyard, you'll see for yourself. But, the accusations of corruption, fraud, stealing money, the list continues almost on a daily basis. So I'm mentioning her because she needs to be mentioned in this list, but I'm apologizing to you straight out. I didn't have the capacity to go through the entire list of shit that Tiffany Henyard is dealing with. Right? City Girl Mayor, right, jail block. City Girl Mayor Henyard, right? The list is too fucking long. I just don't have the energy. And I'm not at all arguing that she doesn't deserve to be on that list. That's not what I'm saying. She more than deserves to be on that list. I'm just adding her, but apologizing for not showing you a bunch of clips because I don't think we have the time. And I know I don't have the energy, but I need to just let you know Tiffany Henyard is there. So if you're familiar with her, you know what she's been up to, you know what she's doing, the corruption behind it. They finally got her out of office and blocked her from running again, but she's still in the news every goddamn day. So when I tell you that not only did the mask come down for everyday black women, the mask came down for professional black women in the public eye. And it came down in a huge way. It came down mostly in indictments. So let's look at another one. I know that's probably one I should have, but I couldn't. I'm sorry. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy. It's too damn much. But this is another. I know many of you guys are familiar with this one. Like I said, I just slapped a few of these together just to give you a taste of what's going on. This is we're gonna look at a couple of clips of Fannie Willis. Check this out.
Organized that you are throwing this case together as you try it. I'm gonna take a recess for a few minutes. I can't figure out what it is. If it's disingenuous, but it is baffling that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have, time after time after time, continues to hide the ball to the extent you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And I really don't want to believe that it is purposeful, but honestly, after a certain number of times, you start to wonder how it could be anything but that, unless it is just that you are so unorganized that you are throwing this case together as you try it. And I am sorry to say that, but this case is being made much more difficult for everybody because of the haphazard way in which it is being presented. I'm going to take a recess for a few minutes. I'll have a ruling right.
The key word here is incompetent. The longest running trial in Georgia history. This YSL case I would call a circus. It was super embarrassing and exposed the incompetence of Fannie Willis and her office. You literally had short bus shawties like Woody running circles around them. It was just so embarrassing.
Why did you destroy your shoulder?
Cutting my shoulders.
What is 372?
Numbers. I know I ain't complete school, but I think I'm speaking proper English. I told you, I don't recall nothing I said to no police. You keep sitting right here asking me the same question over and over and over and over and over. I'm tired of it. I'm drained.
Okay. Well, if you just answer the questions.
I am answering the question. You asked me, I said yes, yes. You keep, when I say yes, you ask me the same question over and over and over and over and over.
But did you just tell the court and the jury that you're saying yes just to move the process along?
I think I said it loud and clear.
Going back to January 11th.
All right, we're not, yeah. So that's one. The latest, as I understand it, has to do with recent order for Fannie to pay. There's a quick short about that.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis was ordered to pay over $20,000 to a conservative watchdog group. The order to pay originated from an open records case from the conservative group Judicial Watch. The group asked Willis's office to provide it with documents pertaining to possible communications with the Department of Justice Special Counsel Jack Smith. Superior Court of Fulton County Judge Robert McBurney ruled Willis's office violated Judicial Watch's open records request by categorizing identifying responsive documents as exempt from the request, but previously saying none of these documents existed. He wrote, quote, "Even if the records prove to be just that, exempt from disclosure for sound public policy reasons, this late revelation is a patent violation of the ORA." McBurney found Willis's office liable for paying Judicial Watch $19,360 in attorney's fees related to the group's efforts in the open records request.
Okay, so that was the latest. That was the latest thing I saw on her. I'm just kind of sharing it. And she's been in the news for far more in the last year or so. Again, I wasn't going to go through all of that. This is not a deep dive into each person. This is just a sampler plate of key figures to kind of, raise the question, are we seeing a pattern, right? Now, the women I'm showing you are, for the most part, seem quite guilty of what they're accused of. And I'm not arguing they're the only ones, because we know this corruption in politics and high-level white-collar work is rampant. But the fact that they're being targeted in the way they are suggests a shift in terms of their relationship with these institutions. But let's continue, right? So this one is rough. This one is rough based on what we know people are grappling with in California, most particularly in relation to the fires. But we know about Karen Bass, right? And the latest ones on the hot plate. Let's check this out.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is also under fire. She's been blamed for cuts to the city's fire department, along with initiatives that pushed unqualified applicants to join the fire department in these critical roles. To make matters worse, she reportedly traveled to Africa, was out there lollygagging in Ghana ahead of these fires, despite warnings of the potential devastation. But when reporters confronted her, she had no answers.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? You're dealing with this disaster. No apology for them. Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Yeah, this is really bad. I just can't imagine fires breaking out everywhere, and when firefighters try to use the hydrants, there's nothing there. It's a failure at every level. For infrastructure, lack of preparation, and leadership that's more concerned with optics than action. All
right, we'll end it there. And again, shout out to Pink Book. She's been dropping useful information, because I only keep up with some of these people. I don't even, keep up is not even the right word. I just kind of marginally observe when they're in the news. But like, she's been keeping her foot on their necks, right? So we see Karen Bass under fire, questions about behavior. And again, you can agree with the accusations made. You can disagree with them. That's not my point. My point is what's happening differently than we've seen before, where this many high-profile Black women are being called into question publicly in such fashion that it leads us to really raise the question, what's actually changed here, right? So that's Karen Bass, right? Here's another. And I'm just going down the list one at a time. And the truth is, it only took me a few minutes. If we did a seriously deep dive, we could find a lot more, right? But here's a friend of the show, Stacey Abrams. Many remember our interactions in terms of, not directly, but in terms of when she did something that Kamala took cues from later in trying to establish a Black male kind of voter checklist of policy ideas to get black men to vote for. And we believe she took it from the black male political agenda, or at least the idea. But what both she did in Georgia and what Kamala tried to do nationally was basically pull from Democratic policies that Democrats were going to do or are already doing anyway, and just basically putting a list together to say this is what applies to black men if you vote for it. They both did the same thing. And I think it's because if they actually looked at the list, and I believe they did, they realized they really couldn't touch it because it would require some critical changes that they didn't want to see happen. But the reason we suspect that she tapped into that is I think Stacey Abrams actually called it a black male agenda. And if you put black male agenda in Google, there's only I'm the top pick in terms of the black male political agenda. So we believe they saw it and used the idea of it and went a different way. But that aside, this particular article, which came out January 16th, just a few days ago, says pro Stacey Abrams groups to pay record fine for breaking Georgia campaign finance laws. Check it out. And shout out to let me see, hold on. Just got a message. Anyway, I'm trying to give them credit while I can. But Inner Light Radio. So shout out to Inner Light Radio. So we're broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and Inner Light Radio. Like, share, subscribe, join, and donate. Support the channel so we can continue to bring you this independent black male thought. But continuing on this, so Stacey Abrams, the Georgia Ethics Commission voted unanimously on Wednesday to find two advocacy groups that were founded by Democrat Stacey Abrams and led by Raphael Warnock before voters elected him to the U.S. Senate. The commission found that the New Georgia Project and its affiliated New Georgia Project Action Fund illegally did election work for Abrams and others without disclosing their campaign contributions and spending. The group's current leadership admitted 16 instances of illegal activity and a consent decree and will pay a $300,000 fine, the largest in state history, according to the commission's director, David Amati. The commission found that the entities raised $4.2 million and spent $3.2 million to support Abrams and other candidates in the 2018 election cycle. David Fox, a lawyer for the New Georgia Project and the Action Fund, said his clients understand and respect the commission's positions on the facts and the law. The matter relates to events from more than 5 years ago, and respondents are eager to put the matter behind them, Fox told commissioners by video. Where ethics officials ruled the groups went wrong was failing to register as an independent campaign committee before taking contributions for electioneering and failing to file campaign finance reports of contributions and spending before Abrams narrowly lost the governor's race to Republican Brian Kemp that year. That's code for basically saying that not only was she not as savvy as plenty of the white folks that have come long before her that have been doing this, but she ain't had no business doing it anyway as a black woman, and they weren't going to let her slide. Either that or she didn't pay somebody. But anyway, yeah. Groups repeated the same illegal activity in 2019 when they campaigned to extend public transportation in suburban Gwinnett County, failing to disclose $646,000 in contributions and $174,000 in spending for a voter referendum to join the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority. The referendum lost. Abrams founded the New Georgia Project in 2013 to register more non-white and young voters in Georgia and urged them to turn out. The project is a charity that can accept tax-deductible donations. The New Georgia Project Action Fund is a nonprofit social welfare organization that can directly endorse candidates, although donations aren't tax-deductible. Neither group normally has to disclose donors. Marty said the groups are likely to now file campaign finance disclosures for the period in question. Abrams stepped down in 2017 and said she had no role in the groups thereafter. With the groups thereafter, Warnock, a close Abrams ally and Baptist minister, was listed as the New Georgia Project CEO on corporate filings 2017 through 19. Right? So that's it. You know, the girl Stacey Abrams is in the news. Yeah. So far, Maxine Chambers McMahon, Marilyn Mosley, Tiffany Henyard, Fannie Willis, Karen Bass, Stacey Abrams. Let's look at this one. So this is Ingrid Lewis Martin, right? Let me see, make sure I got the right one. Yep, Ingrid Lewis Martin. So let me go ahead and share some of this. Again, shout out to Pink Book, staying on them. But here we go. This is top woman in New York City government governor with Masonic ties, accused of giving money to DJ's son for Porsche Panamera.
Fixer. And to top it off, she became a chaplain a few years ago. She's the mayor's self-proclaimed, quote, sister ordained by God. But in December 2024, everything came crashing down. District Attorney Alvin Bragg announced that Ingrid Lewis Martin had been indicted on multiple charges, including conspiracy, receiving bribes, and money laundering. The charges stemmed from a scheme in which Ingrid and her son, Glenn D. Martin Jr., aka Suave Luciano, are accused of accepting over $100,000 in bribes. Now, where did this money come from? Prosecutors say they got the money from two New York City businessmen, Rosada Vahid, also known as Pinky, and Mayank Zuvidi. The indictment alleges that Ingrid used her influence to expedite construction permits and city approvals for Pinky and Mayank to help them with their projects in exchange for cash and other benefits. Ingrid and her son, DJ Suave Luciano, reportedly received two checks totaling $100,000, one from Mayank's company, and the other was a personal check from Pinky. They have a joint bank account. That's where the money was deposited, with part of it funneled into her son's DJ business and used to buy a luxury vehicle, a black 2023 Porsche Panamera. He purchased that car for $113,000, showing off the car with a big red bow on top. He was also flossing in music videos, where he made Caribbean-inspired music and had videos with these women popping their thought pockets all over the place.
So we both from Brooklyn. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, man.
Where in Brooklyn are you from?
I'm Crown Heights, Franklin Ave.
All right. So you get that. You see what she's been accused of. Let me see. I'm gonna jump to this other clip. And yeah, got her doing the perp walk. Check this.
Unraveled when investigators caught wind of the scheme. On December 18, 2024, Ingrid was arrested and charged in connection with a bribery scandal that made headlines across the country. At her arraignment, she was released without bail, but placed under travel restrictions while awaiting trial. All four suspects, Ingrid, her son Suave Luciano, Pinky, and Zofidi, have denied charges and vowed to fight them in court. Ingrid's next court appearance is set for January 15, 2025. This is absolutely crazy. How did the OG City Girl chaplain get indicted trying to finesse money? Then allegedly giving some of the money over to her son, who was up here making videos with other city girls popping their thought pockets, and then also used the money to buy a luxury car. I gotta say, this case isn't just about Ingrid's downfall. She's obviously connected to the mayor, so it raises serious questions about corruption, influence peddling, and the blurred lines between politics and business in New York City. Are New Yorkers able to trust people in power to uphold their interests, or are they more interested in enriching themselves? Let's go ahead and get the conversation.
All right. Yep. So that's the next one. Right? Again, these are people that I wouldn't have heard of, if it wasn't for this space. Right? So let's look at the next one. You guys might find this one interesting. And I'm not rejoicing about this. I'm not upset about it. I'm just, it's Thursday to me. But again, I'm noticing a different pattern of behavior. So let's check this out. This is the first black female mayor of St. Louis, who took an excessive number of trips jet-setting out of the state and the country.
Reporting shows St. Louis's mayor has been jet-setting throughout her term. Public records revealing the mayor took 64 trips in the last 3.5 years in office. The story broken by the St. Louis Business Journal, and reporter Jacob Kern is here joining us today to talk all about it. Jacob, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. We'll bring our viewers right up to speed, get right into some of the facts here. Take a look at this. You requested the mayor's travel reports and her work calendar. Those records show she had taken these 64 trips since taking office back in April of 2021. In total, she was away from St. Louis for 163 days. You do the math, you find out that's about 12% of her total time in office. Now let's look at some of the trips she went on. In 2021, a trip to Dallas, meeting with Southwest Airlines CEO. 2022, to Washington, D.C., the African American Mayors Association Conference. Also that year, going to Las Vegas to meet with the International Council of Shopping Centers. And then the next year, in New York, the Urban League Summit. She also took trips to Puerto Rico, Montreal, and Mexico City. So, Jacob, in the last 3.5 years, to the general public, this might seem like a lot of travel.
Yeah, and I think that for people who have had experience in the mayor's office, it seems like a lot of travel as well, because Lyda Crewson took a little more than 4 trips a year. Francis Slay, the top officials who were with him, they said it was even less. Freeman Bosley served in the 90s. He said he tried to leave St. Louis as infrequently as he could because the office, it really depends on doing the operational work of the city. And there are a lot of departments that depend on the mayor. One thing to remember is that unlike in Kansas City or some of our peer towns, we don't have a city manager. So the mayor is the operational chief of the government.
All this traveling outside of the state and the country for a local city position is crazy, especially when the mayor's role in St. Louis is even more crucial in the city's governance, as they don't have a city manager, which places even greater responsibility on the mayor's position for day-to-day operations. So yeah, we have another city girl mayor here in St. Louis, Tiffany Tahoe. She's been doing so much damage in the Southland of Chicago for so long. Folks like Tashara Jones, the mayor of St. Louis, they've been able to city girl it up in peace. Recently, the mayor of St. Louis has come under scrutiny after it was revealed that she spent significant time traveling outside of the state and even out of the country, raising concerns about her attention to city affairs. It's not hard to notice the mayor of St. Louis has attended many of the same events as the mayor of Dalton, sparking comparisons and questions about priorities. We're going to get into it, but first, take a second to make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification.
Okay, so like I said, you can do a deep dive, not only in the Pink Books shows, but to others if you want to look more into these people. But again, I'm just giving you a sampler plate because this is the pattern I've been observing. And, I'm just trying to, see if I'm crazy. This is what I'm seeing happening. So let me see. Where's the next one? I got plenty for you. Oh, wow. Okay. Guess I must have taken that one down. So let me go ahead and pull it back up. Okay. All right. So let me get this up here. Pardon me. I like to have these things ready, but this one slipped by me a little bit. I got them slightly sped up. I hope that you can still hear clearly enough. But here we go. So this next one, let's see. I'm not going to mispronounce that, but I don't need to. So y'all check this out.
And you'd miss it.
All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it.
With that, the City Council passed a personnel order that approved pay for Councilor Tanya Fernandez-Anderson's staff. One stood out for its size. More than $14,000 in salary and bonuses for the person now identified in the indictment as Staffer A.
Continue to follow breaking news. Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez-Anderson was arrested earlier this morning by FBI Boston agents on corruption charges.
Tanya Fernandez-Anderson has a lot of firsts on the Boston City Council. She is the first Muslim, the first African immigrant, and the first formerly undocumented immigrant to serve.
Ms. Fernandez-Anderson and staff member A text each other, and they arranged for a meetup in a bathroom in City Hall. That meeting happened in the bathroom around 4 o'clock or so on that Friday. And when they met inside that bathroom, Ms. Fernandez-Anderson put $7,000 in cash in her pocket, the grand jury alleges. All of that money was funded by the taxpayers of the city of Boston.
Excuse us. Excuse us. We're not commenting on this.
Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez-Anderson silent as reporters try to get answers about allegations of stealing taxpayer money. For your message to your voters.
We have nothing to say to you guys.
Gotta head over to Boston where we have another city girl scammer, this time on the Boston City Council. That city girl councilwoman, Tanya Fernandez-Anderson. Tanya went from an undocumented illegal alien to a Democrat politician, and now she was hit with a federal indictment, facing time in the federal penitentiary. This 45-year-old Cape Verdean made history when she was elected to the Boston City Council in 2021. She was praised for becoming the first immigrant from the continent of Africa ever elected to the Boston City Council, the first Muslim ever elected to the Boston City Council, and the first ever former undocumented immigrant. Now, just 3 years later, she's making history once again. The first Cape Verdean, first African, first Muslim, first illegal alien is now the first woman to be hit with a federal indictment in her position. Can you believe it? So much history, and we all have the privilege of witnessing it. Take a second to make sure you subscribe to the channel.
All right. So y'all saw that? Right? See what's kind of going on. These are the, sometimes you feel like you're going crazy because this kind of shit I see and it doesn't seem like anybody's talking about it. And I'm just like, sometimes you catch yourself wondering if you're crazy. But, when you start piecing it together, it's like, no, this looks to me like what it is. Now, the next one comes out of Oakland or Alameda County, DA, Pamela Price, right? This particular one, it's dealing with a video of her leaving office, but that's not what I'm going to cover. Let me just get into this a little bit. There's a picture of her there. So, just so you can kind of see her for a moment. But let me read through this a little bit. It won't take long. Pamela Price served her final day in office on Thursday. This is dated, this is December 5th of last year, so not long ago, month and a half. Served her final day in office on Thursday as Alameda County District Attorney. The recalled East Bay DA was seen walking out of her Oakland building and being greeted by hugs and farewells by her supporters. Price was seen holding a bouquet of flowers, yada, yada, yada. Let me get past that. I don't want to see about the signs. Let's see. Chance in the crown. Price was elected to the position in 2022, garnered through recall signatures to be on the ballot in November's election. The Associated Press confirmed her election loss on November 8th However, Price did not officially concede the race until nearly 2 weeks after the November 5th election. Chief Assistant District Attorney Royal Roberts will serve as interim to Price's seat until a new district attorney is appointed. So basically, she got recalled. And from what I understand, and those of you out in Oakland can speak to this more directly than I can, seems that she enacted a number of policies that allowed for certain criminal enterprises to advance, even to the point where she got robbed, and people were pointing out that her policies may have contributed to that, you know. So to that extent is what it is. Now, she's also tied to, I think it's the mayor, the Asian woman, the mayor of Oakland, who just got relieved of her office position, but the two are often mentioned together. So I'm not at all arguing that there aren't other groups of women of color that are experiencing elements of this, but I do think this is something that Black women are experiencing on a whole nother level. Again, I think it has much to do with white society washing their hands of this Faustian bargain that they've had for a number of generations now. So let me see. All right. So tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a link into the chat. And if some of you have a couple things you want to say about the question of the gynocracy dying, or some of the figures that I put up here, if you want to give any more information, or if I'm wrong, you know, I'm not arguing that. I'm like I said, I'm not doing a deep dive into each of these women. I'm just pointing out that this is the pattern I'm seeing happen. Now, the last two are pretty straightforward, I think, for the most part. We're going to talk about Kamala, and if anybody wants to come up and talk about Kamala or Michelle, those are the last two on my list, we can. So I'm going to play this short clip that deals with Kamala, just so you kind of know the angle we're taking at how we're looking at this. So check this out. All right, make sure I have it at the speed I want it. Here we go.
Queen Kamala. Yeah, you have headlines like this one. Black Kamala balance to be.
Oh yeah, I meant to go past that. All right.
Queen Kamala. Yeah, you have headlines like this one. Black Kamala Harris staffers allege they face outright racial discrimination from campaign. No wonder why Black staff and supporters had so much animosity towards us. They were being abused over there at the City Girl President's headquarters, but they were too weak to stand up for themselves, you know, to the actual problem. So they redirected their nasty abusive behavior to other Black people, mostly on social media and in their personal lives. Yeah, if you wonder where that evil demonic spirit was coming from, well, it was coming from the top. Now that the election is long over, these cowards finally want to say something about it. You got all these folks writing articles, having secret meetings, taking secret interviews, giving intel, and exposing how Kamala treated them. And let me make this clear in my Kamala voice. They're the ones who created this monster, and now they're trying to low-key destroy the monster they created. Remember the first ones out the gate talking about we're going to have the first female president and the first Black woman? And let me tell you, I don't think anybody should ever trust these idiots again. Nah, not after they run around calling this Indian woman Black. Even after Candace Owens exposed the fake Black grandma, the fake Black great grandma, the fake Black aunties and uncles in Harlem that weren't even related to this scammer at all, y'all knew all about this and still decided to gaslight us and tell us we better support her because she's Black. The fact that y'all try to play us like that, I have zero respect for all of them.
Okay. So again, you can go into all that. I'm not going down that particular angle. You can if you want to. What I'm looking at is Kamala herself, right? In terms of not only was she accused by Black staffers of discrimination, of course, the whole question of not paying staffers, it's still on the table. She's actually still going around with her hat in hand, trying to find resources to cover the overspending that went along with her campaign and, of course, her overall behavior. But again, the question being asked is about the fall of the gynocracy and whether or not Black women who are in official positions being called out on a scale I've never seen before is indicative of something beyond the pale. Very last, I'm going to play a very short clip, and then I'll bring the three people so far who've come up and talk about a little bit of this. But I just want to get the last one off the table.
The stream's still popping.
It has to do with Michelle Obama.
Oh, it is.
We're all familiar with this. This is only a couple of days old, so you know, there's plenty here. This is the last thing I will play.
Like a bum. I need to step it up.
Not that long.
I need to turn it up a notch.
Here we go. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 42nd President of the United States, the Honorable William J. Clinton, accompanied by the...
Let's see what Tommy's talking about. Oh, he's about big man himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 43rd President of the United States, the Honorable George W. Bush, accompanied by Mrs. Laura Bush. Ladies and gentlemen, the 44th President of the United States, the Honorable Barack H. Obama.
So, you know, Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th president of the United States. You had a lot of interesting characters there. Mark Zuckerberg was there. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk was there, looking and acting like a robot. He got super geeked when Mars was mentioned by Trump. And Barron Trump was there looking like, why y'all had him sent by me? Jill Biden and Doug Emhoff tried their best to make it seem like they're not beefing right now. Bill Clinton was up in the clouds somewhere. Hillary Clinton was tired and through. I mean, you can literally see everything she was thinking right on her face. George and Laura Bush, they're always there smiling like they came out of a cartoon. Melania walked in there like a mannequin. It was just a lot going on. Every living president showed up. Their wives came along. Every last one. Where was Hillary Clinton? There with her husband. Where was Laura Bush? There with her husband. Jill Biden can't stand none of these people right now on either side. But where was she? With her husband. The only president that showed up alone was the so-called black one. The black love couple wasn't represented at all. Instead of being...
Oh, shit. What up, Rick? Nah, shit, I got an outlet at my grandmother's house that need to be swapped out, man. It could, go ahead. Shit, it's all good. Should just hit me when you get back. Shit, even if you want to do it tomorrow in the morning early, it don't matter. Just holler at me. All right.
husband, Michelle Obama, wasn't there. Look at him. Barack Obama walked out there alone, looking crazy. He was looking like a single man when every other man had his wife with him. He was alone. It's absolutely crazy. All the other presidents had their wives. Bill Clinton, George Bush, Joe Biden. All of them, except for Barack Obama. And it wasn't just at this event. The whole weekend, he was spotted out on the town alone. Obama went to one D.C. restaurant, slid through the side door. When he got in there, everyone at the restaurant showed him respect. They clapped for him, but his wife wasn't there. All of this helping to supercharge rumors that he and his wife, Michelle Obama, may be heading towards divorce. Which is crazy, because if that were to happen, Michelle Obama will be the first lady to be divorced from the president. It's never happened before in U.S. history. Once you're the first lady, you're always the first lady. You're always in that club. You never leave your husband the president. So I really hope that doesn't happen, but I can't help but notice the former first lady hasn't been seen with her husband in months. Obama tried to slow down the rumors by posting this picture here on Twitter, wishing his wife a happy birthday, though many believe this picture was not taken that day. It appears to be a previous photo of them. But either way, it doesn't take away the fact they weren't together. He was out on the town in D.C., and the first lady was not there with him. She was supposed to be there. I'm telling you, every living president showed up with their wife. Every last one. You had some people saying, well, Michelle Obama didn't show up to the inauguration with her husband because she didn't like Trump. She's standing on business. Standing on business for who exactly? Because Kamala Harris was there. Hillary Clinton was also there. And I don't think there's anybody in the room that can't stand Donald Trump more than Hillary Clinton. In fact, I believe all of the other presidents and the first ladies have some level of disdain for Trump. But they all still showed up. That's their duty. Even though they're not the current president, you know we still pay a salary to them every year. So no, I do believe that this is definitely more personal than Trump. This wasn't about making Trump look bad. Michelle Obama is making her husband look bad. Obama.
Okay. Well, that was the last one I wanted to play. All right. Let me bring the brothers up. Let me Let's see here. All right. What's good with y'all, fellas?
Greetings.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, hey.
Hey. Well, let's go ahead and start with
What's up? What's up?
Woo! Start with the good doctor himself, Dr. Neal. Give us your thoughts about this, and you can talk about any element of it. Whether we're talking about the women I posed up here, question of the death of the gynocracy, hit it from any angle you want to, man.
Shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. You need to hire. I need Indeed. Indeed you do.
Hit it from any angle you want to, man.
Well, first of all, peace and blessings to all you brothers. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, yeah. Peace and blessings to you guys. Good. My response to your question is it over? Yeah, it's over with. It's done. It's complete. It's finito. I'm reminded of that the film Scarface, that classic scene where Mel is having this conversation with Tony Montana. He tells him about the rules of the game, and the first.
Oh, damn, shit on the top. Come on with the foot shit. Oh. You're fucking bullshitting me, sir. Oh. Play this shit downhill, man. Shit getting ridiculous. Hmm. Hmm. We're still banging. We finally won a finger. Through there. Jose Pepper, Dougie Keith, he a little close, but fuck it, I need to stick on my shit, stick with my shit, don't get pulled off. Dougie gonna have to come up out of there. Oh, he's shading. This motherfucker seen me. I still got the other motherfucker down there too. Play these motherfucking little kid games with you. Oh, I didn't get the ping off? Hmm. He just dropped all the motherfucking 9. Here he comes. Shoot again. Oh, that ain't him right there, is it? Back. I'm over here playing with that goddamn. Should have had the K on him, tripping.
There's never underestimate the next man's ambition. And the second rule of the game is never get high on your own supply. Okay. And here's the thing: they are the victims of rule number 1 and rule number 2. Okay. And what I mean by that is, conservatives play the long game. When conservatives operate and they move, they don't think in terms of just 12 months, 24 months. They think in terms of generations, centuries and the like. And unfortunately, we in general, black people, we are, because of our survivalistic orientation, we only think in the moment. And black women are avatars, for that. So they really thought that this would last forever, that the favor and that the advantages and privileges across the board, because it's not just liberals. So white liberals and conservatives and people of other ilk, whites of other ilk, they were part of a consensus that we're going to do business with these women. They're not a threat. They will not, at least for a certain amount of time, will not seen as any kind of political threat or liability or what have you. And so it is only within recent years that they've been deemed as a problem and as liabilities to discard. And so that's where we are right now. You know what I mean? And I would say it's inevitable. I mean, it's a part of history. I mean, you don't. No one has a reign that runs forever. You know what I mean? I mean, we're looking right now at the decline of the entire American empire. And they had a 50 to 60 year run. Yeah, that's a good run. That is a darn good run. Okay. And the grace and the mercy and the tolerance that was once kind of bipartisan no longer exists. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. And that's why we're seeing even with white women. So I'll give you some examples, with the the congresswoman out of Texas. I can't think of her name right now. She's the sassy woman from Texas.
Jasmine Crockett, sir. Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah. Jasmine Crockett. I want you to pay attention. So you had a woman from South Carolina, Nancy Mace, and you had a woman from Georgia. I can't think of her name, the woman, MJK, whatever they call her name. The white MAGA woman. Both of these are MAGA women.
Okay.
So she's had these public confrontations with these white women who really don't care about her being a black woman, and who are willing to go toe-to-toe with her and willing to have a showdown. I'm talking about having a OK Corral, gunslinger thing with them. And she can put up the black woman flag, where as a black woman this, as a black woman that, or I'm oppressed. And these white women are completely indifferent to what she has to say and what her posturing is. And these white women are just a small manifestation of what's going on at a much larger level. Okay? And I think that as time goes by, we're going to see more of that, unfortunately. And it's going to be a shock to a lot of people. Even Megyn Kelly, the journalist, I saw her. She did something on Michelle Obama. When Michelle Obama, when it became clear that she was not going to go to the inauguration, Megyn Kelly, she went on her podcast and she was like, "So what? Who cares? We don't care about you being there, or whatever." And she has articulated. She has over 3 million subscribers. She's more successful now podcasting than she was when she was on Fox News and on NBC. Yeah. And so you have a sensibility on the right where it's like, we don't care about your black girl magic. Matter of fact, we don't want it. We're gonna defund it. So it's over with. It's over with. Because the liberals, Joe Biden is the last of the white benevolent liberals. He's the last one. He's the last that gave himself over to this. When you look at his career, and I would argue that what he did in his one term as president, he appointed some, I think, like 40 black women to federal judiciary appointments. I mean, he put a lot of black women in power while he was sitting in the Oval Office. Okay. And he also appointed Ketanji Jackson Brown to the Supreme Court and what have you. A good number of elite black women got a lot of goodies under Joe Biden. He's the last one. He is the last benevolent white liberal. Okay? Bill Clinton is gone. There's nobody to succeed him. And I would argue that much of what he did during his terms, in terms of putting black women in those high-level positions of power, had to do with him atoning for what he did with Anita Hill in 1991 in those confirmation hearings with Clarence Thomas. Okay, he never lived that down, and he had to atone for that as a white man. Okay. But he's the last white man who's going to be doing that. White men who behave that way right now, they're not electable. They're not going to be able to go forward. He's the last. These white males who are coming along, you look at the right, J.D. Vance and those guys are 40 years and younger. Okay? These are the white guys. These white guys are going to be running the country for the next 12, damn near almost 20 years. They have a whole army of white males that are 40 and under who are devoted to policy and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they're dedicated to not replicating Joe Biden and Bill Clinton and Barack Obama.
Yep. This is true. So we're seeing the death of an era and a major shift in ideology rooted in generational shift.
It's over.
Yeah, I hear you.
Dr. T, may I speak for a second? I appreciate your show and everything you stand for. And that was a great little montage of corrupt
Niggas about to get popping. Come on. Fuck it. Another two. That ain't it. Pander Fausty. Nigga, how? Dropped the wrong fucking one. Motherfucker got an MP5 in here. Check this shit and cross over. Be in the church. Stone, come on, baby. I heard the MP5 earlier. Fuck, time to go. Damn! The lesbian. Oh. You should have made it right. Oh, motherfucker in front. Oh, I lost him. Why he so faster? What he have? Am I tripping? I almost gave it to him. Fuck. I'm gonna try to switch vehicles. I ain't run him over. Oh, that boy had all follow throughs. I want that C4 though. I got no fucking ammo. $37 rounds. I'm fucking scared the shit out of me. Fuck. I ain't even got the right car for this. Oh, I dropped all my first aids. Nigga bag all fucked up. That boy didn't hear me coasting in on him. I'm gonna take my ass to Dino. What these motherfuckers up here doing? Fuck. Mm. Jenny. Fuck it. Motherfucker. Ah, come on. He came and got me. Good shit. Can't hate on no. He used the wrong maid. I'd had if I'd
Yeah,
have did the small
politician.
maid.
But I would be remiss. You left one out. The mayor of New Orleans, Louisiana. That is a huge deviant of a female who needs to be included in the list of debaucherous females who've been a part of this corrupt regime of thinking black girl magic rules. And she also needs to be lumped up in the category of them too. I would be remiss not to leave her out. But go ahead.
You're absolutely right. It wasn't an exhaustive list, but look how quickly I pulled together 11. And I'm talking about just almost off the head. 11. Maxine Chambers McManahan, Marilyn Mosley, Tiffany Henyard, Fannie Willis, Karen Bass, Stacey Abrams, Ingrid Lewis Martin, Shara Jones, Tania Fernandez Anderson, Pamela Price, and Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama. Almost off the head. You know what I mean? But you're absolutely right. There are more I'm sure we could find in regard to that. But you know, I'm just saying, I'm seeing a pattern. Let me go ahead and let Dead Set jump into this piece real quick, and then we'll just go into each person. Dead Set, what you got to say about this, man?
Briefly, the Michelle Obama one really gets to me because she is the most privileged black woman on the planet. To understand that she is the first lady of the United States, and she still refused to do her duty. So tell me if that doesn't remind you of Eve in the garden, who had everything she wanted.
Okay.
I mean, really, what an embarrassment. All those white women came there and did their duty, and then her, being the one and the most visible first lady there, didn't do hers. Just ridiculous. And I did like the term that you used, Faustian bargain. And I did write this in the chat because the Faustian bargain led black women to familial and social perdition. And I think that's the completion of that statement. As far as the gynocracy, I don't think that they're done yet. I think they're teetering, and teetering heavily. But what I want to see these women bake in the flames that they created for at least a generation. And so that a new generation of women can be forged in the fires of their failures. That's what I want to see. I want to see the new generation of young women forged in the fires of the failures of those who came before them. Then I will be trusted.
You know what's so cold about Dead Set? He could cuss you out, and it would take a minute for me to register that I'm being cussed out because that voice is so smooth.
Forged in the fires
It took a minute for what you were saying to hit me because I'm like, it's so smooth, but he's on fire with this.
It was super nice nasty what he presented. I love him for it. He is the master of super nice nasty.
You know what I mean? He said, I want to see them roast in the fire. God damn.
Forged in the fires.
That's the only way they're going to learn. I'm going to sum it up with this, because of the thing that I'm paying attention to. I'm looking forward to the new DOJ, and of course, this is, I mean, as we can see, it's already affecting these women who are in power. And I intentionally settled my lawsuits because of the new CS rules that came by executive order. So while we're looking at what's going on with the women in the upper echelons, we're going to see this hit women, especially the single mothers, all down because there's been strong indication. I mean, on a side note, the fact that Trump invoked Dred Scott with the birthright issue, I was just saying, brother, really? Come on now. Is that not a lob and a softball in our direction?
Hey.
Yeah. So I mean, you can call them racist. You can call them all this other stuff. I'm looking at this very closely, and I'm saying, look, MAGA people, he ain't what y'all thought he was. I'm gonna leave it there.
Well, we're looking at the right coming after a lot of this, most particularly in positions that have been bolstering white women, and you could kind of.
I'm gonna drink all that shit. Motherfuckers. Oh, he's still. Oh, shit. Please. Fuck. Dang. Ain't too many places he can be. I'm about to go. Oh, where's that at? Nope. Fuck it. Doors closed. I thought he had some. Push it. Doors still closed. The fuck? She down on the beach. Oh, I gotta get up there. Oh, what the fuck? Thank you. Going to vest. Sevens. Come on, baby. Come on, game guys. Fuck it. Carrying all this bullshit. Shit, the motherfucker coming down fast. Fuck. Fuck. Damn. What the fuck? You had to go up the hill. I'm still cut him off if I take the road. Damn, I almost folded his ass. I had to stop 1 second. I should have stayed on my shit. Fuck. Oh my God. You should be out there in the field to the left somewhere. Motherfucker. Ooh, by the hair on his chinny chin. Oh, I hate you motherfuckers. Oh my God. Well, damn. Shit. Other side of this. Where my ping at? Damn. I wonder if I can overlay them buttons. There you go. I overthrew one. I overthrew a molly at him. Fuck! Ah! All right, man.
Remember when the Trump attempted assassination took place, and he had the female Secret Service agents damn near hiding behind him?
Yep.
And he went straight to the Secret Service about it and found out that the woman who was heading it up was so concerned with bringing it to a 50-50 female-male balance that, you know, as far as credibility, quality, training, all of those things could be raised into question because her emphasis, just like we're seeing with the firefighters in LA, was all about just bringing in as many, especially women, as possible, white women at that. And so I think, you know, even at that moment, when you saw Trump going to the Selective Service, those were the earliest indications. I'm like, y'all, I don't know if y'all are seeing this, but a lot of these dudes, you know, a lot of these conservative cats, they are done.
Yeah, that's what, because it pointed out the fact that feminism has always been a power grab. It was never about equality.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
you know, but let me let AL jump in, and then we'll hit the good officer, and then we'll hit my brother Ian. And I just want to say shout out to Ian for dropping the information in the chat. I appreciate you, brother. You've been doing that for years, and I never had to ask him. So thank you, Ian, yeah, and Barry, both of you for that. But I'm gonna get to you in a minute. Let AL jump in and give his piece, and we'll go to Charles.
Yeah. Back off of what Dad said was talking about with Michelle. I'm in total agreement with him. That right there, and shout out to BGS. That hurt us to look at. That hurt us to have to accept what we saw. He looked like a lost puppy walking in there and trying to. Literally, I watched him. Let me cover this up by shaking a few people's hands and giving a few people head nods and this and that. But he looked like he was so lonely. He had lost his best friend, his companion. Why? Because his companion wanted to turn her nose up at being dutiful. You know, when you said I do to that man, you took on a job, a responsibility to be dutiful. And I truly believe that when she thinks of duty, it equates in her mind to submission, and that irks her. And it irks her to the degree that she has to literally, from The View to other TV shows or wherever she shows her face and pops in and whatnot, she's got to do whatever she can to defame him. Because, like we spoke a little earlier on BGS stream, she does not like the fact that she is number two and he is number one, and that the power dynamic she thought she was going to have in the beginning when, you know, she came out of college with her degrees and being a corporate lawyer and this and that, you know, all that you know, the inner girl power fanfare play that she thought in her mind would keep her on top, it dimly faded to the background when she realized you're going to have to play your role as a spouse and be dutiful. And that irked her. And like BJ said, and shout out to you, Master Educator, if it wasn't for the fact that her mother, Barry Oslama's mother-in-law, was in that White House for 8 years to keep stuff under wraps, it's no telling the kind of buffoonery and clownery that we weren't privy to would have really came out. So shout out to her mama for keeping her in check. But now since she's out of office and her mama's not in the spotlight and being that leash to hold her back, we're seeing what she's doing. And it's picking. But I digress.
No, you know what? If you're going to do something like that and not show up to those kind of events, at the very least, if you and Obama didn't, at least that would be a slightly better look. It would look somewhat like you were in lockstep and you were making a statement, even though I think it would come across as fairly immature. But to leave him to do it alone, because if she was sick, that would have been what the news would have led with. You know,
One, two, three. Hey, y'all fucking bullshitting me, man. What you doing with the plate for, man? All right. Mm. Mm. The fuck? Wrong building. There's still more in here. He might have left though. Open door. Oh shit. Already on you, buddy. It's already on you. Gotta be quicker than that. Oh my God. I almost fucked up. No open doors in this bitch. Need a fucking rifle. I guess, nigga, shit. There we go. I need a tool, goddammit. Oh my god. Tripping. Wrist catch up. The fuck? So it came from over there somewhere. That shit ain't in play. Get 3 times. Something. Come on. 2 times for real. Mm. about it. I'm gonna come out here. He went down in there. Should throw a grenade on his ass. Fuck. Throw a motherfucking stun. Mmm. Fuck. Oh my God. How much drugs you on? Damn. That boy was on the dope. You got no ammo. Damn. Fuck. I'm fucked. Motherfucking zone. I'm dead, you non-knowing motherfucker. Damn. All right, man. That's it. Man, fuck it. I'll run one more. I'm gonna try to get this chicken. Give me a chicken, man. Come on. Motherfucker hit me with that Arctic war
She was
machine.
ill. She couldn't make. Wasn't the conversation because it had nothing to do with that. This was all about her, and I think just overall the look of it was ridiculous. And I think it was a statement not only to Obama, because this woman is this is the first lady that has talked more shit about her husband than any first lady I've ever heard of, publicly. And she's been doing it for years. So it's already a bad look when you align it with all of that. But, for him to go by himself and whatnot, it was a slap in the face. Now, the last slap in the face in relation to that, how many black women applauded her not going, and how much black men could see that as a slap in our collective faces about being supportive and standing with your man. And we can watch every other group come in lockstep, but black women applaud, black men being left out there. So I just think in many ways it was a bad look, and the criticism she's getting is deserved in that respect. But anyway, let's get to Officer Faulkner. What's going on, man? Oh, there you go. What's up, man?
And a sheep doop to all.
What's going on with you?
Not much, chilling, taking a cigar and some liquor off, what I mean? Once in a while. You have to think and drink responsibly, correct? What is the question that you so pose, oh good doctor?
Well, it's up to you. I mean, we're talking about the fall of the gynocracy. We're talking about I showed about 11 different high-profile black women, and it's, the list is longer than that, but I just ran with those. You can comment on any of that you want to.
Oh, I will. Oh, how many years have I warned you all about Marlon Mosby in dear old Baltimore? How do you revert the reason why crime went so rampant? Because you went on the news and said you wouldn't prosecute people for looting, stealing, assaults. And then when I said keep watching her, I told you we had 3 female mayors run out of the office in disgrace.
Damn.
And a comptroller.
Oh, the comptroller.
Damn.
Oh my God.
3 female mayors and a comptroller?
Yeah, back to back.
Yep.
Shit.
Black female.
Let me put this to you in a way that people can get it. When historically women are in charge of something, that is usually the downfall of that civilization. Prove me wrong. History's going to be on my side. Now, let's look at the gynocracy as a whole. Was I upset about DEI? No.
Nope.
Because I don't believe in didn't earn it positions. The fact of the matter, and on a side note, I noticed how feminist that black women can be, especially ones they're close to or know, when they're into all this witchcraft and imagination BS. And I'm like, why are you mad? Could you not see that she was a horrible candidate? But they still will carry the pitchforks and torches for Kamala. But yet, as a black man, DEI has
This shit wasn't nothing but a repackaged affirmative action. One, two, three, 4, 5-ish. I hear you. Playing with me, pup. Next bill. Shit! I'm scared the shit out of me. I ain't gonna hold you. That's one. About 5 of them in here. Make a noise. Oh, look at this. Mm-mm. Boy, we stepped on the nade. It's 2. 3. I got this shit right here, man. I already got the grip in the fucking stock. I'm gonna keep it. What you was dancing with? In the vehicle. Come on, baby. No, motherfuckers. Ah, that's why I hate landing here. What kind of bag I got? The fuck? Oh my fucking god. Urgh. Oh shit. Oh my god. It's another one. Motherfucker made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Motherfucker might be on the second floor. Look at that. Won't he do it? Where's the cars? Just kill me now, right? That's how I feel. Oh my God. Please. Oh my God. I'll take this road around here and get me in. Our eating zone, man. Give me a coat. Damn. bar. Fuck. Thought this was, nigga. Motherfucker got transmitted. You gonna call your show back? Check out our boy pockets. Fuck. Milo. Motherfucker. This is behind me. Stayed on his ass. That boy SLR'd me down. I should have shot from inside the house again. He stepped out for nothing. Ah, damn. Alright, man, that's it. I'm tuckered out. I'm all tuckered out.